Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, gather round. Gather round. I need to speak to you, my fellow Kenyans. My name is Kenyan Revolutionary. Just in case you're wondering who I am, I'm glad to see you. I'm glad that you'll be joining me in a few minutes. So I want to greet you and say hello to you, wherever you are, wherever you're watching. Karibuni sana, karibuni sana, karibuni sana. I'll give you a few minutes. I know some of you are getting out of the Maandamano. Some of you are not in the Maandamano. Some of you were watching just like I was watching. I stayed late yesterday, up late yesterday, following what was unraveling. Karibu sana Melchizedek. Nice seeing you. Please go ahead and like the video for me. And hopefully you're subscribed. Nice seeing you again. Melchizedek Odhiambo. So karibuni, karibuni, karibuni. I'm waiting. I need to speak to somebody. I need to speak up. I want to address a couple of issues because today I see a lot of pro-government people who are celebrating and saying this was a monumental failure by the Gen Z to do what they set out to do. As you can see, the topic is NaneNane was just a warm-up. Maandamano is not going to stop. This was just a warm-up. This was a warm-up. I'll send the link, Melchizedek. Just give me a second. I'll send the link. Patie tu dakika kidogo. Nitoe ile iko kwa kifua. Unakumbuka Raila alisema tutapike yote ya ile iko kwa tumbo. Waacha nitoe yote. Well, today there was a NaneNane. And I predicted this in my previous video. I didn't say that it will be a failure. I didn't predict that. That I did not predict. But what I said was what the government did exactly as I foreseen would happen. Ruto sent the police and he had roadblocks and he made sure that the police was scanning who was coming into the CBD. They sealed it off, basically, to make sure nobody was coming in. In fact, the cars that at some points, the cars that were at CBDs were asked to leave the CBD. Okay? And the police were all over Nairobi CBD. And whenever any group attempted to, galvanize, come together, they would shoot the tear gas to disperse the crowd. That's what they did. And this was expected. And we can work around this. Karibu sana, Joy Wairimu. Hello. We are not giving up. We are more determined. Ruto and his regime must. Jen was not a failure. You mean NaneNane was not a failure? With all the police cruelty, it's a fight. Absolutely, it's a fight. In fact, this has actually shown us their play, how they are going to operate. That's what we basically learned from this. They've shown their hands. Hii ni match up, hii ni warm up, hii hata si hata tujaanza. Ruto has shown his hands. He might think he was successful. But this, ameshatuonyesha vile ataoperate. You see, when the Gen Zs waliweka hiyo poster out and they say they were going to meet in Nairobi CBD NaneNane, walianza kuplan njia ambayo wanaweza kustopisha watu wasikuja hapo CBD. Unaona? State House hata nasikia walikuwa wanaambia watu hata kutembea kukaribia State House you could not. And I predicted this. I knew this will happen. I knew it. So I guess the question is, how do we go about it? How do we go about this? Let's say tukiamua NaneNane, sorry, 99, tukiamua 99 sasa, tuendeni 99. How do we go about that? It's not rocket science. It's not. I know. It's not rocket science. This can be done. It can be done. And there's several ways. Let me just throw one out. You know, one thing the Gen Zs can do, for example, they can organize a concert. Karibu sana Francis Kimani, karibu. Listen to me. This is just one off the top of my head. Gen Zs can organize a concert like they did at Uhuru Park last time and say we are going to have a concert in commemoration of the comrades who lost their lives. And we are inviting everybody and anybody from every part of this Republic of Kenya. So let's meet at Uhuru Park, 99. That's just an example of how we can do it. And we'll, they should make sure that they have their permits right or whatever the case is, and go ahead and meet up at Uhuru Park like they did last time. And then, after they meet up and congregate at Uhuru Park, then the march can start. The march can what? Can start. That's just one way of, bypassing that headaches, avoiding all easy mambo ya sijui easy ma roadblocks that these NeNe were putting, the police were putting. That's just one way of how you can do it. There's several ways, there are millions of ways they can do it. But what is important about this NaneNane today was it showed how police planned on avoiding the march to State House, okay? Their plan was, number one, we wake up roadblocks everywhere, put some roadblocks everywhere. That was the number one plan. Number two, limit movement within CBD. And number three, disperse any crowd that's gathering, that are getting together. Disperse them. Wakiona tu watu wame-congregate kidogo, wanatupa nini tear gas. There were tear gas. In fact, this, you know what it is? I don't know if there are lawyers in there. I'm sure there were lawyers who were mandering. I saw Martha Karua she was walking around. But if there are lawyers, these Gen Zs, people should sue the police department. You know why? You know why they should sue the department? Listen. Protesting is enshrined in the Constitution. It's legal. They gave a gazetted notice about NaneNane. And from what I've seen, every angle that I've seen, or any news outlet that I've watched, at no point did we see the protesters doing anything menacing to the public. Okay? They were not looting. They were not touching cars. They were not breaking into anything. They were simply playing their firimbi and walking around with their flags. In fact, some of them, they were not even doing anything. They were just walking. And while they were giving interviews in news outlets or whatever, the police were tear gassing them. Okay? Karibu sana Rose Were. Karibu. Please, if it's your first time, go ahead and subscribe, like, share, comment, do all the good stuff. I might not stay long, but I just wanted to give my 2 cents about what happened today and maybe bring a couple of people. Now, like I said, I'm starting again. Karibuni sana. Yes, karibuni sana. Please like the video, and if it's your first time, make sure you subscribe, share, comment, and do all the good stuff. Do not get discouraged. We now know how they operate. We now know the mistakes that were done. We know their game plan. Their game plan is the same. They always use those unmarked cars, uniformed armed men with masks on who abduct people. We know that. Okay? The thing that the police was scared of was people congregating together. People what? Congregating together. I gave you an example of how we can still meet up, have a concert at Uhuru Park, and from Uhuru Park, march to State House. There's several ways we can do this. Gen Zs can organize 3 different events in Nairobi. I mean, we can say we are going to JKIA again. Watu wengine waende JKIA na watu wengine waende CBD. JKIA kisa chacha, watu wako JKIA wakuje CBD. Something like that. See, you can code it. There's so many ways you can actually do this. But what was clear was we saw how the police force planned their game plan. They shown us their game plan. So the coming NaneNane or tisa, let me just say that, or the coming Maandamano that's coming, we know how these guys are going to organize themselves. That is the takeout from today. It was never a failure. And for Ruto, and for those of people who are, celebrating that, oh, I'm kutoa Ruto, sijui nini, it was not a success. This is just the beginning. Hii ni mwanzo. Hata tujafika half time umeanza kulia. Umeanza kucelebrate. This is just the beginning. This is the beginning. Tutaona vile utagovern. Yeah? Thank you, Samuel Munyae. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, comment. This is just the beginning. It's coming. In fact, umekasirisha more people. I saw Ruto is going for Jimmy Wanjigi. Of course, Jimmy Wanjigi is suspected to be one of the financiers of this movement, this Gen Z. Ruto is doing everything wrong, including what he did today. You've just shown your hand. So guess what? And remember, I said it yesterday, if you listen carefully, Ruto will be very hesitant in including the defense force, the Kenyan Defense Force, KDF, the army, majeshi. He will not bring the majeshi. I told you why. In most of these civil unrest, civil protests within a country, whenever the state brings in the members of the military to come quell things, the military always joins the what? The people. And Ruto knew that. Now, there was a video up there that was showing there were people these were police officers who probably came from Uko Wasingishu or somewhere, Rift Valley. Of course, they were speaking in Kinandi, one of the Kalenjin languages, So you could tell these police officers were not just from Nairobi. But you get what I'm saying. What I like about what happened today is that the Gen Zs we have seen the game plan from the police. So now it's just about outwitting Ruto and his police force. Because like I said, he will not bring the army. He'll not bring the military. Because he knows the military might turn against him. Now, on the flip side, the danger that I see about this, I'm just giving you an overall, the pros and cons, the positives and negatives about today. The danger that most Gen Zs might be roped in is this tribal finger pointing. A very well pro-Gen Z journalist, I think her name is Razna or something, and she was not the only one. They started saying things like, oh, the Luos in Kisumu did not come out to to NaNe Protest because wakina Mbadi wamepewa cabinet ministry. Okay? That's what she said. Now, if you start going to that direction, you're playing into Ruto's hands. Okay? Because now they're trying to make it a tribal thing. This whole, I've been telling you this whole nonsense between Ruto and Gachagua is nothing but a tribal play to divide the country, divide the people of Mount Kenya from the Kalenjins. It is made so. That's why you see the Moses Couriers are being used to jump on this. The Ndindi Nyoros are being used to jump into this. Don't buy into that. I don't pay attention about the possible impeachment of Gachagua. That does not help the common mwananchi. It has nothing to do with the common mwananchi. Hiyo ni mashida zao, and it's a choreographed, manufactured, conjured up, well-planned ploy to play with people's emotions, bring this tribal divide between communities. And that's why I'm saying, as I was looking at the Twitter sphere and how people are responding, please, Gen Z, do not fall into this. Because remember, they've been playing this tribal card for a long time. And Azimio are notorious for this game. I told you, Azimio is part of the ruling class. This guy is a part of Kenya Kwanza. Kenya Kwanza is part of Azimio. These are one. They pretend to be, they play opposition and the ruling party, but they're not. They're both all for their selfish interest. They don't care about the wananchi. But they use their minions, like the guys in Jacaranda, to play into tribal politics because they want to divide you into that. That's why I'm saying the negative thing that I say was this tribalist finger pointing that I started seeing on Twitter. And it was an exchange that went something like this. Oh, nyinyi wa Kikuyu, vile Raila alitoka, vile alikuwa anaita maandamano, mulisema ati biashara, amtaki biashara yenu iharibike. Sasa Raila ameingia kwa serikali, sasa ndio mnatuita maandamano, mnataka Raila. And the Kikuyus, people who are buying into this tribalist nonsense, they are also saying, oh, nyinyi wajaluo mmepatiwa viti tatu hapo kwa nio ya Ruto, saa amtaki kwenda maandamano. That's why Kisumu ilikuwa imenyamaza. And the same thing they are playing. So you see that this political class, all of this Azimio and Kenya Kwanza, the only way for them to survive is to make sure that we, the people, are divided along tribal lines so that we cannot concentrate and see that these guys are actually on to beba ufala and they're taking advantages of us. They're taking advantages of us. And for them to survive and to maintain this oppressive system, they have to play this tribal politics because they know ukabila is a very, very strong demon that's been holding Kenya for a while. And that's how our politics have always been played. So when these Gen Zs were daring to make this a issue-based Maandamano, they thrashed it, and while they were thrashing it, they're trying to link it to a community. That's why you hear some people are saying these Gen Zs are Kikuyu youth. But that's not true, because every tribe, ukiangalia wale hata even the Gen Zs that got shot and killed who are protesting, they are of different ethnic backgrounds. But the political class, through their mouthpieces, are trying to program you into thinking that these Gen Zs, hao ni wale vijana wa Kikuyu hapo ambao wamepewa pesa na Jimmy Wanjigi na Uhuru Kenyatta to go out there and waeke maandamano. And at the same time, they are using the mouthpieces like the Omosh and Nuru Wakanga to go say, hey, sisi wajaluo vile tuliita unenio maandamano hamkutokezea, so nyinyi kaini na hiyo maandamano yenu. You see how they are playing? They're dividing you along tribal lines. And at the same time, Ruto is playing these games with Gachagua. Oh, there's some people who want to impeach Gachagua. Gachagua, now you see Gachagua. That's why you see Gachagua always is very deliberate when he speaks. He's always mentioning watu wa mlima, watu wa mlima, watu wa mlima, watu wa mlima. Karibu sana Gypsy Corner. That's the biggest negative that I started seeing. And if you buy into this tribal thing, we shall all fall. Ama jamaa watazidi kuiba na watazidi kupora. I mean, this is the biggest FU that Ruto showed us today. NaneNane nafika watu na maandamana, he was actually swearing in the CSS. Oparanya even had a... Murkomen posted how he was celebrating after being sworn in. They're basically wanatuchokoza. Nana bubu, angalia, look, I'm a CS. You guys mnapiga makelele huko kwa nini kwa town CBD. You're not going to stop us. I'll do whatever I want. That's basically what they're doing. Meanwhile, they're using their minions to divide you among tribal lines. So stay focused. And people were making fun of Oure Makoure. Listen, I want to say something. When I saw that picture with Makoure and that young fella from, I think he's Nairobi head of students, whatever. And he also took a picture with this guy, what's his name? Gaucho. I said this is not going to work. Gaucho is not to be trusted. Gaucho is, okay. How do I start this? How do I say this? Once I saw Gaucho rubbing shoulders with Makoure and the other Gen Zs, I knew this thing is going to be infiltrated. Of course, Gaucho wants to paint himself as being anti-Ruto. Because Gaucho is basically a Raila goon. We all know that. That's a Raila goon. And he's not limited to... Actually, he's up for hire. Because I've seen him with Uhuru Kenyatta. Remember when Uhuru Kenyatta went to the Jubilee office? When the Jubilee office nani walikuwa napigania hiyo ofisi yao hapo. And Uhuru Kenyatta showed up with Gaucho. Of course, Uhuru alikuwa namlipa. And even say that Uhuru alimbaia lunch and all that nonsense, whatever. I'm just giving you my overall take on what happened today. That moving forward, Gen Z have to organize themselves better. The things that I predicted what the government will do, they did it. The only part that I didn't mention is that I didn't know that every time they saw any crowd gather together, walikuwa natupa tear gas. That part I didn't see. But as far as the roadblocks and to screening the cars that come to CBD, the ones that leave CBD, I predicted that. It wasn't hard to predict. I told you this was going to happen. But fear not. Ini kionjo. And that's the positive part. The positive part is Ruto and now ODM and Azimio and everyone that is aligned to him, they are actually inspiring enough anger in most Kenyans to go out in the streets than ever. Because this man had the audacity to swear in these unpopular CSs that he nominated while Kenyans were at the CBD getting tear gassed. You see what I'm saying? This is what's happened. So now moving forward, there's a lot of bright minds. I just gave you one idea of how we can get to CBD. I know there'll be a bunch of X spaces and Gen Z. We can have a space here where we can discuss. I'll be back in the evening. I'll be here for the next 10 minutes or so, 15. But we have to explore on a more effective way of doing this thing. Gypsy is telling me, Kenya Rebel 2 days ago, I told you that Ruto will concoct something big before the NaneNane. By now, you should know how Uncle Ben, Zakayo Ruto causes calm dramas against Kenyan public. Yes. Even the struggle in Bangladesh didn't take one day, by the way, for those of you who might feel discouraged. It didn't happen in one day. It did not happen in one day. Was it 36 days before their prime minister left? So cheer up. Let's go back. Saizi back to the drawing board. Tunaenda back to the drawing board. Where's the drawing board? The X Spaces, this channel, and other channels that are pro Gen Z that want to see Ruto leave. We shouldn't be listening to anything Ruto is saying. Because Ruto now, the Ruto government people are telling you, nyi sasa fanyeni hivi, what you need to do is and then mkaregister ndio mvote mumgoje 2027 kwa sababu mmeshindwa kumtoa. So ngojeni 2027. What do you think is going to happen in 2027? It's the same faces are going to do the same thing that they have always been doing. Raila atashikana na NaNe, atashikana na Ruto, and they will rig that election. In fact, before that, they want to change the constitution. That's the next step, by the way. I told you that. Hii constitution wanataka we change. Ulisikia Raila akisema, we need to go to Bomas and look at this constitution and see what we like and what we don't like. Na bado hata hawaja implement the constitution that we have. And guess what? When it takes you to the referendum, guess what will happen? Guess what will happen? They will rig the result of the plebiscite vote in their favor for the change of the constitution. Na mtanyamaza, alafu wataambiwa, okay, the next election is in 2047. The constitution imechangiwa, the next election is in 2047. Ruto remains the president, Raila Odinga is the prime minister, sijui nani is the Kalonzo is the leader of the opposition, and all this nonsense. That's how they're going to play it. That's why it's so important. This popular movement revolution has to happen. It's okay if we didn't achieve it today. It's okay. We saw their hand. Waliogopa kuleta jeshi kwa sababu jeshi lishaandikiwa barua. Kariri aliambiwa, tafadhali mkiitwa mkuje mtusaidie. Na Kariri must be watching TV. The army had been watching TV. They saw how people were being tear gas for doing nothing. Yani hao majama hata there was a place they went to the hospital. They tear gas ndani ya hospital. They were tear gassing people everywhere. And the people are not doing anything. Kuna mtu alikuwa analeta fujo. Let me bring in Melchizedek wanted to get in. Let me get in anyone, Melchizedek or whoever wanted to come in and say anything. I'll get you in. I'll be here for the next 15, 20 minutes or whatever the case is. Link Dioyo. Whoever wanted to say something, Dioyo. Igieni. The link is right there, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the link. Yes, I saw Samuel run for his life. Yeah. So, like I say, the link is up there in the chat. Whoever wants to get in and give his or her opinion or take of how they look at things, how things are. I can see Linus Kaikai, Richie Rich is saying, yo bro, kesho kukwaji. Yeah. Anyway, let me show you this video by Kai. Linus has just posted a video link of how police entered into Jimmy Wanjigi's compound. Linus Kai. Let me play it if I could. All right, here. This is the police raiding Jimmy Wanjigi's house, that is. If you guys can see it right there. Kwani walikuwa na majamaa nao. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I'll probably be back again this evening. I just wanted to give my thoughts on this. For those of you who are celebrating that Ruto have survived, that the Maandamano has been thwarted, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. There are still more Maandamanos coming. I'm better, more prepared, much more sophisticated ways of dealing with Ruto and his deadly criminal police force. Okay? I'll be back in the evening at midnight Kenyan time for more of this, where we are going to discuss, and anyone who wants to come in. Again, share, like, comment, subscribe, and all the good stuff. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.